Am I the a-hole for asking my pregnant wife to leave our home after she faked breaking up with me just to get a reaction out of me? I think I was too harsh. So, my wife and I have been together for 3 years, and she's currently pregnant with our first child. For some context, I'm a surgeon and have always had long hours. This has been a known part of my life since before we started dating. Recently, she's been asking me to leave my job to do something with better hours, like private practice, because she says we need more time together. While I totally understand her perspective, being a surgeon is what I've worked my entire life for, and my long hours are just part of that. I can't just flip a switch and move into clinic work. It's not that simple, and it's not what I trained for. Anyway, the other day, out of the blue, she says she doesn't want to be in this marriage anymore because of the issues we've been having. Mainly, she wants more of my time, which, as I said, isn't possible given my career. When she told me she wanted out, I just said, okay. I told her that I appreciate her being honest and that if she truly feels like she can't be happy with me, I understand. I'm a secure person, and if she's not happy, I'm not going to convince her to stay with me just for the sake of staying together. She seemed surprised by my reaction and asked why I wasn't fighting for our marriage or trying to fix things. I told her that if I did, it would feel like I'm begging her to stay, and that's not what I want. If she's unhappy, she doesn't owe me a reason to leave. The point is that she doesn't want to be with me, and that's enough. This seemed to frustrate her even more. She said something like, "So you'd rather walk away than work on the reasons why I'm unhappy?" I told her it's not that. I would have been happy to have a conversation about making things work realistically. But she already decided she wanted out, and I firmly told her that I wasn't going to be in a situation with my partner where they expected me to beg or grovel for their love. I respect myself too much for that. She started crying and confessed that this whole thing wasn't real, that she was just testing me. She wanted to see how I would react because she's been feeling neglected with me not being around enough, and she thought that breaking up would force me to address that. By that point, I'd already changed my mind. I told her I can't be with someone who would casually say they want to end our marriage just to get a reaction out of me. If she's willing to throw around the idea of breaking up so easily to make a point, that's a huge red flag for me. I told her I deserve a relationship built on mutual respect and commitment, and this isn't it. Now I've decided to leave. I've asked her to move to her parents' place since the house is mine. She's pregnant, and I know this complicates things. But after what she did, I don't feel like this marriage is salvageable. Here is my advice. All right, man, here's the deal. I get where you're coming from. You've worked hard to get where you are as a surgeon. That takes insane dedication, and it's part of your identity. But this situation with your wife, it's more than just a career clash. This is about respect, communication, and the foundation of your marriage. First off, I'm gonna keep it real. What she did, testing you like that, is straight up manipulative. Playing games with a relationship, especially something as serious as marriage, isn't the way to fix problems. You're right to feel disrespected because that wasn't a small move on her part. When she threw out that ultimatum, she put you in a no-win situation, and you handled it the best way you knew how, by standing firm in your self-respect. But here's where things get tricky. She's pregnant. That's not just her carrying a baby. It's both of you creating a whole new life. I know you said you've already made up your mind, but before you fully close that door, ask yourself if there's anything left to salvage that doesn't compromise your self-worth. This isn't about begging or groveling. This is about setting clear boundaries, while also recognizing that bringing a child into the world changes the game. It's good that you know your value and what you won't tolerate, but a conversation might still need to happen. Not for her, because let's be real, she disrespected you by pulling this stunt. But for the future you're both about to face as parents, lay out how you feel, how she crossed a line, and what it would actually take to make things work. It's up to her to step up, not for you to chase after her. Bottom line, don't let anyone make you feel less for being dedicated to your career. But also don't walk away without making sure you've really thought through the impact this could have on the bigger picture. You can be both a strong, respected man and a father who is there for his child, regardless of what happens in the marriage. Here is the top comment. Here's my take. First, NTA. I hate this kind of garbage ultimatum behavior. It's childish. I understand why you reacted the way you did. However, I believe what your wife wants is to feel like a priority. I'm not in your marriage. But feeling like a priority doesn't necessarily mean changing your work or life. When you are with your wife, how do you two interact? Are you present? Do you try to take some of the burden of planning things to do together, of making her feel special? Does she do things for you that you don't acknowledge and take for granted? Are you vulnerable with her, and do you tell her that the hours you put in are for both of you? Yes, fulfillment for you and your career, but also to build a life that hopefully will be quite comfortable with you being a surgeon. I don't think one childish episode from your wife, who is pregnant and perhaps has a lot of hormones messing with her, is sufficient reason to give up and walk away if you truly love her. I believe you need to sit down with a good counselor to help get to the heart of what your wife actually wants. If she truly is demanding a career change to private practice, then you can walk away and co-parent your child. But if what she wants is to feel like she is as important to you as your work, then I think you could make some small changes that could really alleviate that. That's my take. A random Redditor who often has to tell my husband that I would like more of his attention. It's not about a number of hours or days. I just want to feel like I'm still his priority when we do have time together. Anyway, what do you guys think in the comments? Post 2 time. This one is a bit of a doozy. The title is, Am I the a-hole for forcing my husband to take in his estranged daughter despite his wishes? So, my husband and I are currently cooling down from a fight, and he called me a few things, including a hole. Everything is a bit of a mess right now, so emotions are running high, but I really need a sanity check and maybe some fresh arguments because I feel like we are going in circles. Long story long. My husband had a daughter when he was in his early 20s with his ex-girlfriend. They were not good for each other, a lot of fighting and just emotional abuse. So they split just before the child was born. He has been very open about this in our relationship and how he regrets not taking more care to not get her pregnant because they were young and immature and stupid. He never really got to build a relationship with his daughter. Her mother would just keep the kid from him and made it clear that she did not want him in their life. He has paid child support the whole way through, but it has been uphill for our entire relationship. When we met, my husband had matured greatly and was eventually ready to start a family, so I have seen a bit from the sideline. When our first child was born, his ex went for more child support because if he can afford a new kid, he can afford to pay up. She is always being super nasty in any conversation they might have, and she taught their daughter the same thing. He has tried to at least get a phone call for Christmas, and last year his daughter said some really awful things on that call, calling him deadbeat and other awful things, telling him she hates him and never wants to get to know him. She is 13 now, so I know that her mother is still influencing her a lot, but she is also reaching an age where he can't just say that she doesn't know what she is saying or how hurtful it is. So my husband has basically given up trying. None of them want him to try, so he resigned to that. A few days ago he got a call. The core of it is that his daughter told a teacher that she was being SA'd at home. CPS showed up and her mother split, disappearing. They want her to come live with us. My husband wants to decline. He has no relationship with this child. She seems to hate his gut. We have younger children, and honestly, no experience dealing with a trauma like that. He believes she would be better off with a foster family who knows what they are dealing with. I told him that there is no way this kid got abused, abandoned, and then getting rejected from the only family she has. We are taking her in, and we will figure out the rest. That poor kid needs some stability, not getting tossed around in the system. Currently, we are not in agreement, and I know that he has the last word since I'm just his partner and not related to this girl. Am I being unreasonable in thinking this is a huge red flag and that he needs to step up to be a father for her too? Edit. Okay, this has been a bit overwhelming to come back to, but I'll try to clear up a few things. 1. I'm aware I have no legal say in the matter, but my husband and I are a team and a family, so my opinion matters to him. I've been tuned. 2. Neither of us have experience with the foster system, so we are really just going off what we think we know. I want to thank everyone who has been able to elaborate a bit more on this. 3. Yes, my husband was a deadbeat dad in the beginning. Later on, he's been able to see that they were a really bad match, but that he should probably have tried harder. Once visits became an option, he tried, but she would forget and not be home, or say it wasn't the date they agreed on and stuff like that. Maybe he could have gone through court, but he just gave up really. Hindsight is 20/20ths, but it doesn't change the fact of the now, unfortunately. Here is the top comment that kinda says what I think. What you are trying to do is admirable, but will likely blow up your family. You cannot even imagine the damage that has been done to this child. The stress will be so hard on your entire family, and your children don't deserve that anymore. Then the daughter deserved what was done to her. There's another option. Foster care placement with frequent visits. She can start therapy and have time to get to know you and your family. Your family can start therapy and learn ways to handle her and help her. It may work out, or it may not. But you'll have tried while balancing your children and giving your husband time to adjust. You're not abandoning her this way. The next person replies, I appreciate this sentiment compared to many Insta shutting down the prospect via lack of training. I don't envy OP. Think they're stuck between doing right and being kind, shitty moral quandary. And the first user says, exactly, I would hate to be in that situation. And another comment said, so you are the a-hole if you make the decision for your husband. He has zero relationship with this kid and you want to bring in a traumatized teenage stranger to your house where you have small children. You have to protect your family. Maybe start out by trying to get to know his daughter first before y'all just allow her to move in. Here is what I think. My 2 cents. This situation is heavy. No doubt about it. Your heart's in the right place, wanting to give his daughter stability, especially after what she's been through. But your husband's hesitation isn't just fear. It's about protecting the family you've already built. Bringing in a traumatized teen who has a lot of unresolved issues could cause chaos in your home, especially with younger kids involved. That's not something to take lightly. That said, maybe there's a middle ground. You don't have to reject her completely, but you also don't need to rush her into your home unprepared. Start with visits, therapy for her and your family, and see where things go. This way, you're offering support without risking everything you've built together, giving both her and your husband the chance to slowly build a relationship. Last, but not least, am I the a-hole for calling my friend a creepy weirdo after she posted a TikTok about my husband? This is post 3. I, 28F, am friends with this girl. Let's call her June, also 28F. In fact, my husband, 32M, and I often hang out with June and her boyfriend. I go on double dates, have weekend trips, etc. We've known each other for over 2 years. I would say that we 4 were pretty tight as a group, up until this weekend. My husband is an orthodontist. One of his patients is June's half-sister, Rhea, 12F. June often is the one accompanying Rhea to her dental appointments. June is also a small-time online influencer. She's always recording and vlogging and stuff. Though my husband and I have made it clear to her, and we're absolutely not okay with our faces in her vlogs online, and she seemed to respect that boundary. We don't use social media, apart from Reddit, and we trusted her word when she said she's not gonna post us online. Cut to last weekend. My brother sent me this TikTok link with the message, "Dude, you gotta watch this." I opened the link and it directed me to June's TikTok account. She doesn't have much followers, less than 10K, but the particular video he sent me had like 500,000 views likes. I'm not sure which. Lo and behold, it was a video compilation of my husband with the title, "God, I see what you've done for others." The video was honestly the creepiest thing I've ever seen. She had recorded my husband during various of our double dates together, and it was clear he wasn't even aware he's being recorded. In some of the clips, she would start with her face, and then pan the camera towards my husband with a cutesy expression, and mouthing words like, "Oh my God." The worst one was where he was working on her half-sister Rhea, wearing scrubs, and she'd recorded even that. She didn't even bother to blur out the kid's face while she was lying on the dental chair. I showed the video to my husband, and he was horrified. He said it made him so uncomfortable and violated knowing that someone had been secretly recording him. He was angry that she'd recorded him working on a patient. He texted her asking to take down the video and delete every video she has of him. First, she feigned ignorance. Then she said that she meant no harm and that it was all for online engagement since, I quote, "TikToks with hot guys go viral very fast," and that she'd gained a lot of followers after posting that. This was all so weird, but my husband and I got our families and friends to report the video, and thankfully it's being taken down now. This pissed off June, and she sent me a long-ass text saying how I was jealous of her online success, and that I couldn't stand seeing her succeed, blah blah blah. I replied saying, "You're delusional and unhinged. You're not successful, and you'll never be. Stay away from us, you creepy weirdo." Now she's all weepy and depressed and has been telling our common friends how mean I was to her. She's also been posting about mental health on her socials and about how mean some women are with their words, lol. The top comment said, "NTA, people who think online engagement is more important than basic human decency are sadly not at all uncommon, and they are, as you say, delusional and unhinged. Their success is not real, and except in a very few cases, it never will be." Then the poster replied, "It's psychotic, honestly. My husband is so freaked out about this. I feel so bad for him." The next comment said, "Ain't no way she called your husband hot and then said you're jealous of her. Girl, she's jealous of you." Here is what I think. Not the a-hole for sure. What June did was beyond creepy, and it crossed serious boundaries, both personally and professionally. Secretly recording your husband, especially during private moments and while he's working with a patient, shows she cared more about her online engagement than about respecting your friendship or your husband's privacy. It's not success. When you're exploiting others without their consent, you are right to call her out. And if she's playing the victim now, that's on her for not realizing how serious her violation was. For anyone in a similar situation, it's critical to set clear boundaries early on when it comes to social media And personal privacy. Be upfront about what you're comfortable with being shared and make sure your friends or acquaintances respect that. If someone crosses the line, don't hesitate to speak up immediately, and if needed, take steps like reporting content and blocking them. Always protect your privacy, especially in professional settings, because once things go online, it can be tough to control the spread of that content. Hope you had fun listening to these. More coming soon. Like and subscribe to hear more. Comment and let me know what you thought, and check out this other video. Thanks.